Hi Omar, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. So in our last exercise, what did we do? We created a manual release pipeline to deploy our container image on our Azure container instance. If you remember
Mm.
that, if I show you that we ran this pipeline, and if you go to release, and if we edit that. Remember, we created this pipeline and we had an image hour in our local registry here.
Yeah.
And what did we do? We created a pipeline, and if you see this, we added this. We use because we do not have any task to convert our to create a container instance using Azure pipeline. So the alternate is that we can use Azure CLI or a PowerShell. So we use this script,
All right.
and then we created a pipeline. After that, if you go to release, and if you go to release, it was successful. You can see the successful, the logs, and
Yeah.
all successful. And we tested it while going into our container instances, and this is the container instance we created. And if we just click this, we copied this public IP address, and we saw this page uploaded the SQL app which we've been working on for a few days. So we created a manual pipelines. So in today's lesson,
Yeah.
so we if we start from the beginning, so we created a .NET project, and then we pushed that project to our repos. We deployed that project after creation of SQL database, SQL server. We deployed to our web app, remember?
Yeah.
And we created a build for that, we created a pipeline for that, we created a release for that, and also we deployed that app into our virtual machines,
Yes.
and then we containerized that application and we deployed to our Azure container instances. Then after that, we created a release pipeline, which I just showed you a few minutes ago,
Yeah.
and we push that image to our container instance. In the exercise, we will explore another way, and in that we will deploy the same app, the same image, which we have this in our local registry, this one, into our Azure Kubernetes. So in this lab, we'll deploy our image to Azure Kubernetes using pipeline, and we will create a Kubernetes. So for that one, first we need to create a Kubernetes cluster. Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
right. So what do we do first thing? So we create a cluster
All right.
in a cluster service in Azure. So we'll choose dev and test,
Okay.
and we call it dev cluster, which will choose this size. We do not need scaling. So we'll choose one node, and integration will choose our container registry.
Oh.
Yeah, so if I go to my, just duplicate this and search for Kubernetes service, yeah,
Yes.
and we create a Kubernetes cluster, and we choose our resource group, and we choose dev and test, same one, dev and test, yeah, because it's a demo, and we call it dev cluster,
Okay.
and UK South is fine. We do not need any availability zone. It's a free.
Yeah.
That's good. It's free, so we can use it. And node image and all that. Just if we go to next, pool is 1. So we change the size to D2S, this one. And we don't need auto scaling, we keep it manual. And node count 1. And update. That's fine. So if you go to networking, same, leave it as default, go to integration, and now it will ask for registry, the one we had open here. Remember this
Yeah.
one? So if we choose that, and this is our registry picked up automatically, and leave it all as it is. Next, 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 next. It's just checking the validation now. So you can see that our cluster called devcluster. This is the latest version. Node pools, which is like one pool mean one computer when you're using Node. I will explain to you in our other series when we'll start our
Okay.
Kubernetes and Docker series. And this is all done. We just click create. So to start creating. So it'll take about 5 minutes. We'll come back when it's done. Yeah.
All right.
Right. We just came back and our cluster is ready. So if we are we there, Omar?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah. Okay.
here.
Good. So we created our cluster. Remember? And now we
Yes.
go to resources. So first I will show you how to deploy our image manually on this Kubernetes cluster service.
Yes.
And to do this, we need to have, where is our nodes? So we created this,
Okay.
and so we created this container and like Kubernetes cluster. So to do this, we need to deploy the image which we have in our registry, and for this we are going to use deployment manifest files for our app service and for services.yml, which is for load balancer. And if I then for this, if I show you for this one, so we will configure this. We'll put our values what we need, and then we deploy manually. We go to workload, we create our workload, and I'll show you all these processes manually now. So for this one, as you can see, I already have two manifest files, app.yml and service.yml.
Yeah.
You can call it any name for this. I mean, just leave it myapp for time being. And for the image, we need to have our local, we need to have our registry name, which we have over here. If you see
Yeah.
this local registry, if you just copy this and go back to change this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an auto save. Just save it again, just save. And if we go to service YAML, this is where our load balancer is. So anyone coming from outside world on port 80, he can access our application via this load balancer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the sort of process now I will be showing. So we upload these manually. So we go to our cluster. So there's a dev cluster we created, and if we go to our workload,
Yeah.
underneath Kubernetes resources, workloads, and so these are all automatic created. We don't have to worry about it at the moment. So when we go to our next course, we explain all these deployments. So we create a apply YAML base, yeah.
Okay.
So in this one, we just go there and go to our YAML and copy all that. Paste it and add.
Yes.
So it'll take some time to create. While this is happening, for our service, we go to service and ingress. And these are all sorted, don't worry about it. So it's all working fine. If we create it, apply YAML one, and we go to service.yml manifest file, copy all this, right click, copy, paste, add, right. So just taking time. So if you go to our workloads, so if we refresh it, so it is at the moment just building it. So if we just come back in a few seconds.
Oh, you meant the name. Okay.
Yes, I think there's a problem. Let's fix this.
Okay.
So if we go to our cluster, and if I go to overview, so it's coming as a problem. It's not pulling the image properly. So if we go back to workloads, and you can see it's still failing.
Yep.
And one of the reason is that it's saying image pullback off. That means the image we are pulling from our registry is not the right one. So if I go back to see the image name we have is called SQL app Docker file, and I just changed it. So we had only SQL app Docker. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's add again. So if we can delete this one. Delete this one while it's deleting. And if you go to cluster again, workloads, so this is deleting at the moment. We refresh it. So let's add another one
All right.
and create, copy, paste. This one's fine. Add. Failed to create the deployment. Oh, app, because app already exists. So let's go back again into devcluster. So it's not deleted yet. So if we delete this here, delete. That's better now. So create again.
Okay.
And this time we add again. And this time we could write SQL Docker file latest. Add. That looks better. And if you go to a service, and so this is fine, as you can see. The
Yep.
load balance created perfectly. But
Yes.
let's see this app. If we refresh it,
Right.
here we go.
Yeah, working.
It's working now. So to check it, this application is working fine, we go to our service and ingress, and copy that,
All right.
or not copy that. That means it will open into new tab.
Okay.
So let's see. Here we go.
Yeah, it's working.
So it's working fine. So that means since we are doing all these exercises, we have got a SQL database and SQL server with the insert table in it, and every time we're connecting, it's showing this insert table.
Yep.
So we deployed this app onto our web app, onto our virtual machines, onto our container instances, and now we have deployed onto our Azure Kubernetes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any question?
Yeah. No, no.
Right. So this is all working fine. So in this example, we deployed the image manually, and we added the manifest files for app and service manually into our cluster.
Yes.
Yeah. And so what we're gonna do, we will go back to our cluster and delete these deployments, so we can show in our next exercise that we can deploy using a pipeline. So let me delete this, or if I go to workloads, do you understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we delete this.
We're deleting now them, so we will do them manually on the YAML file.
Perfect. So we go to service and ingress and delete that and delete this and confirm this. So hopefully, so we understood now how to deploy manually our manifest files into uh, Azure Kubernetes cluster service, and we created a workload using a app.yml manifest file, and we added a service app into our service ingress for our load balancer. Now what we'll do, we'll deploy all this using a pipeline. I hope this is very informative to you, and I'll meet you in the next exercise. Thank you very much. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.